Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkas, and this is Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome. Better late than never, huh? As I was just saying in the chat here, it's been a special hell kind of morning. Wow, obviously. So yeah, started off with trying to go and get something hot to go and drink this morning. Went over to Dunkin' Donuts, and I don't know what the fuck was going on, but it was like a mob scene or something like that. Didn't get anything. Was coming back home and saw a dead person, basically with the cops surrounding them around a bus stop. So yeah, and then the dog, of course, bit me this morning too when I was giving her a treat. She did it by accident, sure, but like I said, it's been a really special hell kind of morning. And then also, I was trying to start up the live stream here and decided, oh, I'll try the beta version of this because, that's what you want to do right before a live stream. And the beta version's like, well, do you have a certain streaming service that you decide to go with instead of our normal streaming service that we were dealing with? And yeah, so sorry for all that shit that happened. But I'm here now. There we go. And so is everybody else here in the chat. Hey, Viking Bitch, Ed Brewer, Andrej Marek, Stanley Tweedle, Slurmy Scott. I know Mufinobi is at work and doing his stuff that he needs to do. Penn Farm Girls here. Excuse me. My cough is still here. Who else do we have here? I know people are going to filter in here and there, so that's cool as we go along. Again, like I said, sorry for it. Just being, like I said, it's been one hell of a freaking morning. And sorry, I'm having a little technical difficulties here with napkins and all that stuff as well. So they keep sticking to my cup, which always looks really good on screen. So what do I got for you this morning? While we're waiting for people to trickle in, I'll start with some of the lower stuff on here. I was just going through the news this morning too and trying to see if there's anything news because it's kind of a light news week because of a certain movie that came out and everyone decided that that's what they were going to cover and only that. Quite literally, there's really no news going on out there except for this one movie. It's called The Notebook. No, I'm kidding. Captain Marvel, and that came out, of course, yesterday. I saw it on Thursday night, and I will get to that. I'm going to do a non-spoiler review for those of you who haven't seen it and still may want to see it. You may not after what I say. So, with that said, DirecTV Now just decided that they're going to raise prices again. They actually just raised prices about 6 months ago, but they're raising prices again at $10 a month. They're restructuring their packages, so they're only going to have two packages now. One package is going to be 40 channels, and it's going to be $50 a month. And then the other channel is going to be their 40 channel plus, I think is what it is. And that's going to be $70 a month, but HBO is included in that cost. For those of us that are already in it, like me, I don't know if I want to spend another $10 a month on this thing, tell you the truth. It's getting to be like cable again. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mufino, we know you have a package, and why don't you go and deliver it, huh? So yeah, exactly. There's several streaming services that are out there, and I'm kind of I'm over it at this point. I just kind of want an a la carte thing where I choose a couple of channels and that's it, and then I'm done. I will pay $40 a month for if I can just choose what the fuck I want to watch, what channels I want. And be able to change them as well, interchange them. So if I have a full packet of 10 channels or something like that, I can switch one for another, that kind of thing. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, you missed my whole spiel this morning, maybe for nobody about what kind of special hell it was. So, yeah. That's right, Penn Farm Girl. I heard they retconned Klingon, so now they have 2 Peni or something like that, or 18 or something like that. So all kinds of weird shit that's going on. Who knows? And I don't want to know. That's why I don't watch that show. It's not Star Trek. It's some other thing. that they've done at this point. Yeah. Centauri have 6. That's not what I heard. I heard centaurs don't they just have one big one? Is that what it is? I guess that's what the term hung like a horse is. See, now we're already going down the wrong road already in the morning. But what else is new for this chat and podcast? You know? Mufino says, I wish there was a base package for super fast internet, then just pick what you want. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Life is too short to hate watch TV shows. But speaking of hate watch, there's been a lot of people out there talking about this movie, Captain Marvel. And I saw it Thursday night. I went in, I didn't watch any of the, bickering back and forth online about he said, she said, or it's, I've read some of it afterwards, online, and how, they're saying, oh, that Brie Larson says it's not for white men or whatever, which she never said anything of the sort. It wasn't a good movie. That's all I can say. It really wasn't. As I said on Friday when I posted a non-spoiler post on Facebook, this will probably be the first Marvel movie that I have no desire to see ever again. It's out there. And it's not because of the message. There's no message in the movie or anything like that. There's no, girl power kind of thing or anything like that. There's nothing like that, which all the trolls, all the Gamergate trolls and Comicsgate trolls out there and all that kind of shit are, rallying around the He-Man Women's Haters Club out there, all that shit, whatever. There's no message in this. It's just a shitty movie. That's really all it is. The reason why, there's 7 people on the fucking script writing. 7 people. I'm not kidding you. I actually, when I was sitting through the credits, and I was like, this movie really sucked. Why is 7 writers? There we go. 7 writers. And you can tell, like, they all want to tell a different story. So the story's going off in all these different directions. And then you have a main character who's running really hot and really cold in the same scene, like within a second. Like, I don't remember things, but here's this memory I'm going to pull out of my ass from 30 years ago that involves you and I. And it's like, wait a minute, you just said you didn't remember. Oh, man, what the hell? And it was just, it's just very badly done. Even without the flashbacks and whatnot, it was just a very poorly done movie. And really long too. I looked at my clock, and Mufinobi gives me shit about this. My clock is my phone, asshole. And I say that with love. I looked at my phone 3 times during the movie, which is a big no-no for me. I don't normally do that, but the first time I looked at it, I'm like, holy shit, and not even an hour's passed, and I've got more. And I knew it was a 2-hour runtime, a little over a 2-hour runtime. The cat wasn't even a good character, Pen Farm Girl. It was not. It was there. It was the Stan tribute was a good thing. Again, though, it was in this movie, and I'm never going to see this movie again, so it's kind of a wasted thing. Yes, they changed the logo, the beginning Marvel logo, to make a tribute to Stan as well. That's not a spoiler. People have seen that. They've heard about it. And that I don't want them to keep it. I really don't want them to keep it, because there was a lot of other people than Stan that were involved in making Marvel great. Stan was just the most outspoken, if you will, in the figurehead for a lot of things. But yeah, it was nice. It was a nice tribute. So, hey, little crispy tenders, how's it going? Yes, Pen Farm Girl. The reason for Nick Fury's lost eye was fucking stupid, really fucking stupid. And the thing was, it was, and I'm liking this to Hot Tub Time Machine. If you've ever seen Hot Tub Time Machine, Crispin Glover's character in the current time is missing an arm. in the past, in the 80s, he has his arm, and the whole joke is they're waiting to find out how in the hell he loses his arm, because you never find out until almost the end. And yeah, it was kind of like the eye. You were waiting for them to find out how they were going to get rid of his eye, and it was really fucking stupid. That's all I can say. If if anyone wants to know how he loses it, you can PM me later on, on Facebook and something like that, and I'll let you know. Because yeah, great white buffalo, exactly, Brian Fisher. But that's really what it was. They kept having these close calls where you see him almost lose his eye, and you're like, and that's what it was. It was fucking Hot Tub Time Machine, and I started laughing when I realized it after the second time. I'm like, they're pulling a Hot Tub Time Machine, only they're trying to do it seriously. They're not doing it for laughs. And it's that's how bad of a movie it is when you're pulling from a comedy in order to do a bit that's supposed to be serious about a canon character, by the way, and you're doing it as a fucking joke. There you go. Yeah, that was kind of an insult. Not kind of, that was an insult. So, yeah. How was Brie Larson in the movie? Stanley Tweedle asks. Like I said, her character runs very hot and very cold. And like I said, she will say, I don't remember that, and then pull a memory. I'm not kidding you. 10 seconds later from 5-6 years ago and say, remember when we had that beer at such and such a bar? And you're like, wait a minute, you just said you don't remember anything. And then you pull this memory out of your ass and you're talking like it's, like it's old times. And the character that you're talking to isn't confused by this. And they're like, okay, great. It's literally like having two separate conversations because, again, you had 7 writers working on the script within seconds. And yeah, I'm pretty sure there are two endings that were filmed for Endgame, Pen Farm Girl. I'm really hoping they're not going with the one that they severely overpowered Captain Marvel to the point where all the Avengers have to do, like Captain America and all these guys, just need to pop some popcorn and sit back and watch. Strap a body cam onto her and watch it from afar, because it's going to be over within a couple of seconds. It really doesn't need, they really don't need anybody else. Viking Bitch says, I have unsubbed from a couple of people for their constant bitching Captain Marvel. It's fine if you don't like the movie, but I don't believe there's a giant conspiracy cast. Yeah, this was not a giant conspiracy to push some feminist agenda or anything like that. It was just a shitty movie. So what Disney's doing is they're using all their resources to squelch people. And I've heard this is actually happening. I guess Rotten Tomatoes lost 50,000 reviews, something like that. And they're squashing really bad press about it. And I can see why. They want to make their money. What is it they're making this weekend? Something like $150, $170 million on opening weekend. And you're going to see a severe drop-off next week. I'm talking like 70% drop-off at least. Maybe even 80%. Because that's how bad it is. It's horrible. The last 20 minutes of the movie is like a completely different movie altogether. It was kind of like, I think, what the original script was supposed to be, and they kept that part of it because it makes sense. It's actually kind of coherent, where the rest of it, you're just going, oh, what the fuck? You know? Or as Cliff says on Doom Patrol, the fuck? You know? It's that bad. Yeah. Little Crispy Tender says, only good Marvel heroes are Deadpool and Spider-Man. Not really. I like Captain America as well, and Iron Man. The Iron Man movies are good. 1 and 3 at least. 2 has its moments, but yeah, it's mainly not the great. Oh my God. But Yeah, it's too many cooks spoil the pot. And these two directors were probably the worst directors they could have chosen for this genre. They're indie directors. Now, don't get me wrong. There are indie directors that can do really good stuff. Jon Favreau, for example, was an indie director. They brought him in for Iron Man. Remember, he was an indie director before Iron Man. They brought him in and boom, knocked it out of the park. Started the whole Marvel universe pretty much. The Russo brothers were also indie as well. There you go. I mean, there are indie directors that can step up to this. These two were not those directors. They were just they really just needed to stick to something smaller, to tell you the truth. For something like this, I would have brought in Joss Whedon, to tell you the truth. It's Joss Whedon. There we go. Joss Whedon. And yes, I know he's surrounded by controversy right now and is laying low. He's laying as low as possible. That's why you don't hear his name anymore, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a shitstorm that comes out fairly soon about him. But he was the one that should have been directing this. He's the one that should have worked on the script. But they wanted to rush it out because they needed to get Endgame out as fast as possible because of the downer that, that Infinity War was. Infinity War was a downer, and you're not going to see a lot of people coming back for Endgame. I hate to say this, but it was depressing. It ended on a depressing note, even more so than Empire. I mean, Empire Strikes Back, granted, was a fucking dark movie that ended really darkly, and you had to wait, what was it, 4 years for Return of the Jedi to find out what was going on. But it still wasn't as dark as Infinity War was with the snap. Sculpted letter by Viking Bitch says, hate that feminism has become an F word. A few extreme people have stirred up a giant hate brigade. And yeah, they did. It's like I said, I go back to the Three Stooges, the He-Man's Women Haters Club. I don't know why they just don't call themselves that. That way we know it's a joke, because that's literally what they are. They're guys that are really fucking insecure about this stuff. It's like, dude, get over it. It's not new. It's been around for a long, long time. Brian Fisher says the Captain Marvel just interrupts the flow of Infinity War to Endgame. Yeah, pretty much. And it's retconning is really what it is. I mean, they're saying, okay, none of the heroes were strong enough to defeat Thanos, but we're bringing in this one character who can, and here's the reason why. And it's like, actually, you didn't explain that either. So all you do is introduce the character. I honestly don't care about the character. In the comics, I didn't care about the character. That's how bad she is in the comics. She is never a fully developed character in the comics, and still really isn't to this point. And I'm not sold on this. Again, I've gone on record of saying this time and time again. She-Hulk should have been, if they wanted to do a standalone female lead movie, well, they should have started with Black Widow, really is what they should have done. They should have done an R-rated Black Widow, but Red Sparrow beat them to it. So now they're kind of screwed because the storyline that Black Widow was supposed to have was already done in Red Sparrow. So now they are pretty much stuck with their PG-13 version that they're going to do. And really what they should have done was She-Hulk all along, to tell you the truth. They introduced the Hulk. They should have brought She-Hulk in, and then they could have put her into the Avengers as well. But no. Stanley Trio says it's like in the Boondocks. Hey, wait a minute. I don't have to do this. I'm a white man. It's yeah. For those of you who have not seen the Boondocks, great social satire. Again, Samuel L. Jackson provides one of the voices for it. There's a lot of people that are great actors that are voice actors in Boondocks. And Aaron Magruder is the one who created the Boondocks. And it's got a lot of social commentary in it, a lot of things about gender, race, equality, all that kind of stuff, but done from a point of view of a militant 8-year-old. And yeah, Uncle Ruckus, my God, that is, I can't even go into it. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, take a look on Adult Swim. I believe that all the episodes are up there. You can take a look on adultswim.com. Good morning, Dante S. Yeah. Yeah, a movie for Nobi. The only saving grace is I trust the Russo brothers as well. The Russo brothers, everything they touch has been good. I mean, and great so far. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm going to be seeing Endgame as well. This hasn't turned me off of Marvel movies. Captain Marvel hasn't. As far as I'm concerned, it's just another thing I can. That's the thing. You have 20 movies. You hiccup on one. It was bound and determined to happen at some point in time. Actually, they hiccuped on more than one. Incredible Hulk was a shit show. That's all I can say. There's a reason why Ed Norton isn't back. Wasn't called back as Hulk. I know he's retconning what happened, but he got fired for that one. It wasn't like him walking away from it or anything like that. They did not want him back. So, yeah, Pen Farm Girl, you really don't need to see. And I'm sure that Stan Lee's cameo is going to make it out. In and of itself, the little blurb of it is going to make it out on its way onto the internet at some point in time. And you can go and see it. It's Thor 2, Stanley Tweedle. I thought Thor 2 was okay. It wasn't great. I kind of like the Dark World. The whole thing with the elves and all that stuff, wanting to bring darkness back into the world. It was a very dark movie, granted, but I thought it fit very well into the Thor world. And you could tell, though, that Natalie Portman wasn't into it at all. She had checked out, and she was just there for contract obligation. But she had checked out completely on that one. Felipe Diaz says, well, I skipped Ant-Man and the Wasp, saw it after a while, and it was a good choice not going. Actually, I liked Ant-Man and the Wasp, but then again, I'm a fan of the smaller movies, if you will, the smaller heroes, no pun intended on that one. And the least powered heroes, I guess you could say. I like them. They're actually pretty good, and the cast works well together in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Michael Pena, especially, I love Luis, and I want more of Luis's stories in there because you put the coin in the jukebox, you must listen to the music, as his friend says. No, the pun was not intended on that one, Ed Brewer. I know I've been saying that quite a few times this podcast alone, but they really weren't intended. I liked Ant-Man 2.2. I didn't see Ant-Man 2.2. Pen Farm Girl says, I'll watch any Thor movie just for Loki. Yeah, Tom Hiddleston is awesome. When he was here at Comic-Con for the first Avengers, he was dating Taylor Swift at the time. I was trying to walk through downtown, and I was trying to go as far away from the con as possible, because if you go up a couple of blocks, and yes, I am going to be that stereotypical person, the average Comic-Con fan is overweight and fat, will not walk uphill more than a couple of blocks. So if you walk up a couple of blocks, you don't run into that crowd anymore. You can go and eat in peace. So that's what I was doing. I was walking up the street. There was a big crowd of people around a door on the sidewalk by a hotel. And all I just wanted to do was get past. So I'm walking through. I'm doing what I normally did in catering, which I could weave my way through crowds fairly quickly with a tray of drinks in my hands. It was actually a skill. And I weaved my way through, and I hit a void, if you will, of no people. And I didn't realize that was the door where celebrities were coming out. And I just almost bumped into Taylor Swift. I didn't know who she was at the time. And I pivoted, moved around her, and then kept going into the crowd. And I guess someone was with me at the time and said that she gave me a dirty look and then looked down at my ass, supposedly. That's what I heard. That was what I did not see this. I had walked past at that point, But yes, there we go. I've bumped into a lot of people at Comic-Con that I wasn't supposed to at the time. So yeah, it does happen. Yeah, like I said, I heard that secondhand from somebody. That's all I can say. I can neither confirm or nor deny that she actually did that. Taylor Swift, if you're watching, you know, there you go. Glad you liked what you saw. Yes, Brian Fisher. I was just thinking about this morning. That Dark Horse, now that they're on the rise again, I want to see Mystery Men remade. I really want to see Mystery Men remade. Dark Horse has been on a roll lately. I mean, come on. They did Umbrella Academy. They've done Polar. They're working with Netflix at this point. It's time to bring back Flaming Carrot in the Mystery Men. Mork says, why did Taylor Swift look at your ass? Because it was the only thing she saw going through the crowd as I left. That's what it was. I didn't stop to look at her. That was the whole thing. I didn't bump into her. I did my pivot where she was still walking and I moved with her. It's this weird thing. I can only show you. I could never describe it fully, but I never really made any contact. I kind of moved around her and kept going in a straight line, my straight line that I was going, and then back into the crowd on the other side. So it was just this weird, thing. Maybe she thought you were into trouble when you almost walked into her. No. Security didn't grab me or anything like that. That's the weird thing about all of this. Every time I've done this, where there's been like tons of security around and stuff like that, security has never grabbed me. Knock on wood. I think I've made it through the crowd so fast at that point that they didn't know what the hell happened. Celebrities are not used to being ignored. I really did not know who the hell she was. I don't listen to her music. I saw her face before and I know what she looks like, but it was, it's one of those things. It's not somebody I'm familiar with. So it wasn't like it registered or anything like that. I guess Tom Hiddleston had gone right before me, had gone, he was ahead of her and had already gone into the limo. So I just missed bumping into him. Yeah. Yeah. Servers are their own kind of superhero. Well, I wasn't a server, Penn Farm Girl. So I used to work for a catering company doing bartending. So I did all kinds of stuff. I managed stuff. So I've been a bartender, a busser, dealing with the wedding planners, all that kind of stuff, or the event planners, what have you. I've done busing. I've done all of that kind of crap. And that's just the way it is. And you find ways of getting through really crowded, coked up people at parties, which does happen. I worked during the first .com era in the 90s in San Francisco, where a lot of people were all coked up and drunk and stuff like that. And it was a free for all. So yeah, it is like ninja servers, really, pretty much. I almost made a comic of that, to tell you the truth, that ninja caterers, that was a side gig. That's how they made money to make, to get all their ninja gear. Yeah, there just wasn't a cohesive story, Penn Farm Girl, so it didn't lend itself. It's an interesting idea. It just didn't really lend itself to, doing that. There is an idea I have for a comic that's in my head, that's been there for a while, that's been percolating and is there. So, and it takes place in San Francisco in the 1800s. And believe it or not, there was quite a few people in San Francisco in the 1800s. Mork says, have you seen The Order on Netflix? I have not. I know there's a second season. I've heard that. That's about all. Just need a one arc limited run and then sell it for millions of dollars and run for the money. Hey, Dennis, did you see the new Brightburn trailer? Yeah, I did see the new Brightburn trailer. So for those of you who don't know what Brightburn is basically evil Superman, if you will. So think of it, Mom, Pa, Kent, they found Superman. Only Superman's kind of an asshole as a child, and he gets bullied and decides he's not going to take any bullying anymore and decides he's going to kill every fucking last one person in the town, except for his mom, because his mom's been nice to him and stuff like that. That's pretty much what this movie is, with Elizabeth Banks starring as the mom. And yeah, the last trailer here, oh man, that looks like it's straight up horror story with superpowers at this point. And this is where superhero movies are going right now, is that it's they're going into the horror genre now with superpowers. I don't know why they haven't just done that to begin with and done the supernatural comics that are out there, like Constantine and the Demon and, you know, Dark Justice, that kind of thing, instead of, you know, beating around the bush. It's really weird. You could tell these coked out executives are like, I got an idea. We'll make a horror movie with superpowers. That's a great idea. That's great, boss. You come up with the best ideas, not knowing that it's already been done from, like, you know, 80 years ago. Pen Farm Girl says, I keep forgetting the name, but yes, it looks really good. Yeah. Dante S says, trailer reminds me of Superman, Carrie, and Damon. Oh, you mean The Omen? Yes. Moving on. By the way, the prequel, Morks, I know you expected that my grading happened, Morks. It's just in the 90s. Right. Stanley Tweedle says, different topic. Do you think we'll see Tudyk and Dalton again before the end of Doom Patrol? Yes, we will. They're going to wrap up this whole the Cult of the Unwritten Book thing in this next episode, and then I think they're going to go back to go and finding the chief. And I'm liking, like I said, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about Doom Patrol right now, and on DC Universe. I've been covering this. It's awesome. If you haven't seen it, go and sign up for the 7-day free trial on DC Universe. Watch the first 4 episodes. They're up there. You can binge watch them. Then tell me what you think. And Alan Tudyk plays the villain in this, and he hasn't been in the last 2 episodes. So he's been in the first 2, but not the last 2 here. And they're starting to find out that Chief is not who they think he is. And I think it's going to come down to they're going to wonder if they should look for him or not, or if he's gotten what he deserves. That's what I think it's going to come down to. And yeah, having Mark Shepard in Doom Patrol right now is pretty damn good. Yeah. Yeah, Sculpt Leather Art by Viking Bitch says, Doom Patrol is the shit. The whole cast is genius. It is. The writing's good. When you have a story about a siege that's happening, and you can actually get character exposition and development done during that siege, that's fucking good writing right there. That's the reason why. How many episodes are there, Pen Farm Girl? I believe there's 13 episodes, like there was for Titans. The fuck? Exactly. Cliff. So Brendan Fraser plays Cliff, aka Robot Man, and his catchphrase is the fuck, because every time something happens, the fuck. It's everything. Every time you think you've one-upped how weird shit is, it gets even weirder. Like this week, they had the head of a disembodied horse that sings with a spike in its head. It's got a spike in its head too, and it's singing out the clues of what you're looking for. It's called the Oracle, by the way, and it comes out of a tabletop. Yeah, and that's not even the weirdest thing that happened in that episode. That's all I can say. The blue horse. Yeah. Yeah, Viking Bitch. And the thing is, again, it's I want to say Legion kicked open the doors on this, to tell you the truth. Legion on FX kicked open the doors greatly on this for how weird stuff can be and still find an audience for it, man. I mean, it's the Oracle is what the name of the horse is, Stanley Tweedle. That's just what they call it. Yeah, a horse with no name. I know the song. That's the song you put on when you want to clear out the party. Yeah, the horse with no name is really that's the song you put on when you really want to clear out the party in big time. Yeah, and then there's also Janis Joplin's dental floss being the world's strongest spiritual thread in the world. Yes, and that's the only thing that can close up gates to another world, which are actually light stigmata coming from a priest's hand. Yeah, there you go. There's your weirdness portion for that. That's not tobacco. How many times have I heard that? That's not tobacco. So I got that review out of the way, or that spoiler-free review. And I didn't spoil anything. I'm actually kind of surprised. So long story short, what did I think of Captain Marvel? There you go. And I'm glad I had a spit guard right here in front of the microphone. So, anyone watching the CW Arrow at all? Anybody? Bueller? Well, next season, the 8th season, is going to be the Arrow's last season on the CW. And the CW actually has an app. You can watch these episodes for free. That's what I do because I don't get it. So, and it's only going to be 10 episodes for next season, for the last season, which I thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, Ed Brewer, you quit at the right point in time. It's not good. It's brooding is really all it is. As I kept saying with John and I used to do CW reviews on another forum, and it got to the point where it was roundabout. It's like, well, don't keep secrets from me. Okay, I won't keep secrets from you, but I've got a secret. Shh, I've got a secret. Okay, the secret's going to come out. It's going to bite me in the ass, but I'll tell you what it is, and I'm not going to keep any more secrets from you this time. Okay, don't keep any secrets from me. Okay, I won't keep any secrets from you, but I've got another secret. And literally, that's what it became, is just this roundabout thing of people keeping secrets from each other when if they just told them, and it wasn't any particularly good secrets or anything like that. It was just something if they told somebody what they needed to know, they could have avoided a whole shit show of things happening and gotten things done quicker. But that was literally how these episodes were going about. Now they've broken up the group. Yeah, it is very childish, Viking bitch. It's horrible. Now that they've broken up the group, there's no secrets anymore, and it started getting a little bit better. Especially, it's kind of funny, this season they've flashed forward to 2040, I believe it is, or 2049, something like that. And that is actually better, or what we're watching, than the stuff that's supposed to be happening in the now. And I want to see more of the flash forward than I want to see of the current season. Yeah. So I'm not, yeah. Stanley Tudor, but we have to talk about the feelings in hallways. Yeah. I did love how Flash did call that out in one episode where it was actually the crossover event when Ollie and Barry had switched bodies. And not switch bodies, but switch roles, if you will. And everyone thought they were each other. And at one point, Team Flash comes out. Did you want to talk about your feelings out here in the hallway? And there was actually a scene of that. And I started busting up laughing because they literally called it out. And that was genius, I have to admit, on whoever wrote that part. Yeah, Brian Fisher. I liked Arrow. I actually like the Deathstroke stuff, to tell you the truth. And then they kind of wishy-washied on it, and then Manu Bennett went off and started doing other stuff and decided he didn't want to do that anymore. You know, Pen Farm Girl, iZombie is gonna end after this 5th season, and I think it's a good ending place, to tell you the truth. It's the comic, trust me, the comic after issue 12 kind of went off the rails and didn't know where it was going, and I didn't know where it was going, and I dropped it. And I think this is a good place for it to end, to tell you the truth. Stanley Tweedle says, this season of Black Lightning is my last CW DC season. Then I'm done with that. Yeah, Black Lightning's been weird. It's been very weird. I don't know where it's going. It's been dragging out the storyline with the pod kids way too long. It needs to move past the pod kids, and I don't think they know where they're going with it, to tell you the truth. And they need to find out what they're doing. And yes, I do like Legends, Pen Farm Girl. Legends is probably my favorite one, just because they've embraced the weird and they've gone with as weird as possible. Again, if you're not noticing the theme with me, I like the weird shit. It does, as you know, Viking Bitch says, it speaks to me. The weird stuff does speak to me, and that's what I get into. So, hey, Kato Roan, nice of you to join us. Kato Roan says Black Lightning had zero relatability for me, not being from the U.S. and in touch with all the political cultural references. Yeah, I can understand. It is a very U.S. centric show. Yeah. Brian Fisher says, has there been any news about Swamp Thing or the next season of Mr. Robot? No, there has not. I know they're filming Swamp Thing at the moment, and Mr. Robot as well. And Mr. Robot's supposed to be premiering in fall. That's all I heard, was just fall. They haven't given a date on that one yet. Excuse me. What classifies as weird to me? Anything that's not the usual cookie cutter shit that we see out there. You know? Pen Farm Girl says, Kato, I agree about Manu, but then I'd have to admit I watched Shannara. I don't know anyone who's watched that show, to tell you the truth. I tried, and I promptly fell asleep within the first 10 minutes of that show. And I couldn't do it again. It just, yeah, sorry. Brian Fisher says, what's going on with Constantine? Are they bringing it back? You weren't here for last week, were you, Brian Fisher? I mentioned that the WB is working on bringing Constantine back to TV with Matt Ryan. We don't know in what capacity or where, but that is most likely going to end up at DC Universe. I wouldn't be surprised, because they are building a fighting force of extraordinary magnitude. There you go. Now they're building a really good library of shows, other than Titans. Titans is just dog shit, but Doom Patrol's been really good. Not Justice League. Sorry, Young Justice. Thank you. There we go. The animated Young Justice is really good. I'm pretty sure that Swamp Thing is going to be good as well. So Stargirl is coming up as well. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that's coming out there. Yeah, I never watched Legend of the Seeker either. I know some people did. I know that's where we got Lena Luthor from, was Legend of the Seeker. From Supergirl there, she came from that. Pen Farm Girl says, I like the first season. Kind of sorry I didn't get a third. I guess you're talking about Shannara, or yeah. What do we know about the Dresden reboot? Have no idea. I know they've talked about it, and that's about it. Into the Badlands, I thought got canceled, Brian Fisher. I think the next season is supposed to be its last season, from what I understand. I hate to break it to you, but I believe that it's done. You know, Andrzej Marek, Lex, it's a really old series from Showtime. I remember trying to watch it, and I couldn't get into it. I really could not. It was kind of beyond me. There's a lot of stuff that a lot of people like that I don't like. Yes, like Game of Thrones, everyone was really into. I watched the first season. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was the rave thing that everyone thought it was. I am going to be covering this last season, of course, especially now that it looks like, you know, DirecTV now is going to be giving me HBO for free. Well, not for free. They're raising my rates by $10 a month. But yeah. Lex was soft corporate. Yeah, it was soft porn space soap. Yes, it was. Marks, thank you. I didn't want to say it, but yeah. But you know, there's other things too, like Farscape that someone loves here. I'm not going to say who. I can't get into it. I tried. I really, 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 really tried, and it just didn't do it for me. Sorry. Again, there's nothing wrong with this. I keep saying this to people. We all have difference of opinions, and just because someone doesn't like something that everyone else does doesn't mean that they're stupid or a horrible person or wrong or anything like that. Just means they have different tastes. I mean, hell, I loved what was that sci-fi show that was on that only had one season, Blood Drive, which was fucking insane. It was an insane show, but I really loved it. It was it was every weird thing that I could ever think of packed into a B movie, grindhouse movie into one, and they had it on sci-fi on TV. I mean, okay, they have this couple driving a car that they have to get across the finish line, otherwise their heads are going to explode. They have little bombs in their heads, and their little things that are in their heads, the little bombs, are actually hooked up to their circulatory system and whatnot as well. And in this particular episode, they the couple that are driving, the one that we're following, their little things get screwed up because of some electrical damage, and they need to keep their heart rates up to a certain point, and they also need to win the race. So they're behind the wheel of the car, speeding towards the finish line, trying to beat the other car before they get there, but also having to keep their heart rate up. So they're having sex while driving, only their heart rate's not going up fast enough. So she tells them to do anal. Yes, there you go. And this is on sci-fi. There you go. Yes, Kid O'Ron. It was a very awesome show. That's all I can say. And it had one of the guys from Stargate SG-1 as one of the main villains. Yeah. Oh, and the cars, by the way, the cars are not powered by gas. They're powered by blood. So what you needed to do was you open up the hood to the car and you fed people to them live. Yeah, and they would eat the people and they'd fill up with blood. That's why it was called Blood Drive. Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't watch Night Flyers, Brian Fisher. Sorry. It just doesn't do it for me. A lot of George R. Martin stuff doesn't do it for me. Kid O'Ron, it might have been based on Carmageddon. I know it sounded familiar to me as well. Yeah, that's the reason. That was the whole joke, Ed Brewer. That was the blood drive. Yes. Stanley Tweedle, it was crappy, but that was the whole thing. They were trying to go for a grindhouse kind of feel to it, and they succeeded and went above. There was nothing about killing people. You didn't run over people. It wasn't Death Race 2000 or anything like that. It was just getting from point A to point B. You're going across the country in certain stages. And the country had been torn up by something called the Rift that may or may not have been supernatural in tone. So pretty much the whole country was going to hell in a handbasket. Not kind of unlike what's happening now, but yeah. Yes, people, don't forget to like down here. So what else do I got going on here? Oh, yeah, that's right. So Idris Elba is in talks to replace Will Smith as Deadshot in Suicide Squad 2. James Gunn's Suicide Squad 2. Which I guess has the working title right now of El Dorado. Excuse me on that one. Yeah, I am too. I'm really good with that. Seeing Idris Elba. Yeah, we did joke that Idris Elba should play every role. It's Idris Elba and Scarlett Johansson. Only Scarlett Johansson will get chased away from every episode because she's not the certain gender or skin type for that role of whatever she is. But yeah, and the other thing was, I guess Suicide Squad 2, they said the roster is going to include King Shark, Polka Dot Man, and a character named Peacemaker, who is a very violent pacifist. Yeah, there you go. Who has a body count. And rumor has it on that one is that James Gunn is going to hire James Gunn is going to be hiring Dave Bautista for that role of Peacemaker. So they're going to work together again. Which, yeah, it does sound very, very weird. And that's what James Gunn does best, is he does weird really well. The thing is, though, he needs to be reined in a little bit sometimes, because if he's allowed to do whatever he wants, he gets a little too weird and then he goes off the rails. That's why Guardians of the Galaxy worked well, is because he had Kevin Feige reining him in. This one, I don't know if DC or Warner Brothers is reining him in at all. They might just say, go with it, because we got you now and you did Guardians of the Galaxy, so blank slate, go for it. Yeah, Kiddo Run, what the hell happened to Summer Glau? She disappeared off the face of the earth. Pretty much after the Sarah Connor Chronicles, she disappeared. Don't know what happened to her. Maybe she made enough money from, Firefly and all that stuff that she's done, and I don't know. Yeah, exactly. The Cape. Oh my God, the Cape was so horrible. No, I don't think remake being John Malkovich would be good. Name it being Scarlett Johansson. Every role will be played by Idris Elba, but none by Scarlett Johansson. Okay, Andres Merrick, I'll give you that one. That's actually pretty funny. Yeah. Married and kids, I think, is what Kato Rowan says. Huh. Okay. She was on Arrow, huh? I didn't know she was on Arrow, Pen Farm Girl. It's kind of weird. Maybe I missed it. I saw all the episodes of Arrow. Oh, yeah. She was in the early seasons. That's right. They never resolved her character either. They just kind of removed her. That was weird. Now that I remember that. Moving on, I was surprised they had Gunn's name all over Brightburn marketing. That's WB2, isn't it? Yes, he wrote the script for it. Well, his brothers wrote the script for it. He's producing it. That's what it was. Yeah, the Gunn clan is huge in that one. It's like 3 brothers writing it, and then he's producing it. But thing is, they all share the same mind, so it's not going to be like Captain Marvel, where you had 7 separate people all wanting to do their own movie and all having their own voice, and it all sounding like separate voices in the script as it went through. See how I brought that back again? There we go. Pen Farm Girl says she took over the company. I kept waiting for her to return. Yeah, she took over the company and then disappeared. That's what I mean. They just kind of, it's like, okay, bye. It's kind of like Poochie. I must go back to my home planet and do what I was going to do. And we see the cell go taken off the screen. Yes, Pen Farm Girl, it does work out that way every now and then, where it seems like I've planned this and I really haven't. Mork says Poochie. Poochie, by the way, Mork, is from The Simpsons. He is a character that Homer voiced on the Itchy and Scratchy show. And it was a whole thing about introducing characters into really long-running TV shows in order to keep them running longer, kind of like Oliver from the Brady Bunch, and just other characters that have been brought in TV shows that have gone way past its prime, and then are blamed for bringing the show quality down when the show quality had already been down to begin with. That's what the whole thing was about. And Poochie actually became really popular in The Simpsons for a while there, and then he took over a little bit too much, and then Homer wanted to do his own voice, do his own agendas for it, and they killed off Poochie. It's a really funny episode. You guys have to watch it. And not only that, It's got June Foray in it, who did the voice for a lot of Warner Brothers characters. One of them being the Roadrunner, the Meep Meep. And she goes, yeah. She goes, I only did one Meep, and those cheap bastards at Warner Brothers just did it twice. Didn't have to pay me for the second one. It's one of my favorite lines from her, just because it's the animation person in me that makes me laugh. Or revive Highlander by Cheech and Chong. That could be interesting, Andrej. I can see how they do that. You know, they are trying to revive. I heard they're reviving How High, the old Red Man, and fuck, I can't remember who the other guy who's in it. But Mike Epps is coming back as Baby Powder, which, by the way, so I love stoner comedies. Love stoner comedies. How High is pretty damn funny, and Baby Powder is a pimp that gets his name from, he would put baby powder on his hands before he would smack somebody, before he'd pimp slap somebody. And so he's coming back for, I don't know if it's a reboot or it's a sequel, or yeah, Red Man and Method. Thank you, Method Man. Thank you, Dante S. Yes, yeah, he put baby powder on his hands before he'd pimp slap somebody and leave a big ass handprint on their face. And it was one of those genius characters that really just needed his own movie, because he's pretty damn funny. And to have them bring him back is genius. Just absolute genius. Especially since Mike Epps hasn't done anything good in a while, you know? I don't know what he's been living off of. I think he's been living off the residuals from the Friday movies. Excuse me. Which isn't nothing to sneeze at. Yeah, I saw they're filming a new Jay and Silent Bob, the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I'm not a big fan of Kevin Smith, Brian Fisher. I'm like I said, I'm not a big fan of Kevin Smith, and especially the dude. He really needs to like do his own. He keeps talking about comics and all this kind of stuff, and yes, I know he's directed a lot of Supergirl episodes and things like that. He needs to shit or get off the pot, because he's too old at this point. And you either need to do a superhero movie if you're talking about superhero movies all the time and, you know, all this stuff, or stop talking about superhero movies and stop giving your advice on them and stuff like that. Because, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I know you got scarred early on in your Hollywood career by the giant spider shit that happened in Superman, the Superman script that you did, but I don't want to hear about it for the next fucking 40 years. Sorry. You're a one-trick pony as far as I'm concerned. And that's what the Jay and Silent Bob stuff seems to me to be. I'll see it if it comes out on cable. That's about it. I'm not going to go and see it in the theater. That's about as dark as I'm going to get. There you go. But, oh, and I did love, they did have a little Kevin Smith shout out in Captain Marvel, which I thought was the appropriate place to put it, since the movie that no one's ever going to watch again. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Brian K. Vaughan. So does everyone know who Brian K. Vaughan is? He's done, you know, little comic books like Saga, Why the Last Man, you know, things of that nature. Excuse me, my nose is just Ex Machina, Runaways. You know, that little show that's on Hulu right now called Runaways. Yeah, so he's the one who's created all of that. He is going to pen a Gundam live action script for Legendary Pictures, which I'm looking forward to, because next month is going to be the 40th anniversary of Mobile Suit Gundam. So it's about time that this thing actually gets a live action. I take that back. There has been one done in Japan, a live action series, but there hasn't been one here in the US. And to have him write the script for that, I think is going to be pretty kick-ass. Yes, Viking Mitch. His last, Kevin Smith's last few movies have been horrible. Very, very horrible. Yeah, Dante, don't get me started on kids naming from celebrities. Uh, Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller named his kid Moxie Crime Fighter. I shit you not. That was during that whole phase where 90s celebrities were naming their kids. They were trying to one up each other on how shitty they could give their kids names and give them fodder for them to put them into therapy. Hey, gaming the sick boy. Speaking of sick boy, I'm about to like hit the mute button here and blow my nose because it sounds like it's at that point. You know what? I've had this thing going on now for a month, which just is killing me. I don't have a cold, gaming the sick boy. I had viral pneumonia about 3 weeks ago, and I've still been getting over it. Yeah. So Ed Brewer says I like him in interviews. You know, Ed Brewer, I used to like Kevin Smith in interviews, but he keeps saying the same damn stories over and over again. If you ever gone and seen him speak at Comic-Con, they use him to clear the rooms at Comic-Con. Really. They're like, and now speaking Kevin Smith, and you see everyone get up as one and try and walk out the door as one. Because no one wants to hear him talk about the same thing he talked about 20 years ago. No, I still think Moxie Crime Fighter is the prize there, Stormy Scott. I know about Apple. Yeah. Kid Aron says, my niece is in class with someone named Check, and his parents taught him to write his name as a $sign, not even a pound sign. Why? Why? That, oh my God. I mean, I've said this for a while now. You know, you need a license for to drive a car, you know, all that kind of stuff. You need licenses for certain things, but any idiot can have a kid. And you really do need to they need to just institute having a license to have a kid. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, Viking bitch. Kids are not pets. Names matter. I mean, God, I mean, I named my dog, you know, Pepper. And it wasn't after Pepper Potts, and everyone actually asked that. I was actually looking at some spices on the spice rack to see where it was. I'm not kidding you. That's actually what I was doing. And I thought cinnamon sounded a little too stripperish, and I didn't want her going down that road. So that's the reason why she was named Pepper. Which I granted, that could also be argued as a good stripper name as well. But, excuse me, exotic dancer. Exotic dancer. There we go. Exotic entertainer. Is that what it is? So yeah, champagne was out of the question too, as was Chantel, because those are all taken. Not that I judge or anything like that. I really don't. So did everyone see the Good Omens trailer that came out? Yeah. With David Tennant and Michael Sheen? Yes. That is coming out on Amazon on May 31st. Depending on where it falls, and again, it's Neil Gaiman. I don't do very well with Neil Gaiman stories. American Gods being one of them. I'll see, because I know Neil Gaiman is heavily involved in this one. I'll probably cover the first couple episodes until, you know, unless I start disliking it, and then I have my four episode rule. So there we go. Gaming the sick boy. What's Doom Patrol like? You missed the whole thing about Doom Patrol earlier there. See, if you came in on time, no, I'm kidding. Really damn good. That's all I can say. It's weird. It's very, very weird. Well, let me put it this way. Disembodied horse head with a spike in it that sings in this episode, as well as Janis Joplin's dental floss being the most powerful spiritual thread in the world, that it can only be used to close up the gates to a different world that are actually stigmata coming out, light stigmata coming out of a priest's hand. All brought to you by a cult that wants to bring about the decreator of the world. And Nazi puppets. There you go, Stanley Tweedle. That was last episode, but yes, Nazi puppets. Yes, Mork said, Doom Patrol's a TV show with a damn good story. Done. Yeah, and the donkey is the universe. Exactly, Brian Fisher. I'm pretty, well, one of the universes. We know there's 37 known realities, 37 known dimensions. Exactly. I mean, you can do a 7-day free trial and take a look at the first 4 episodes and see what you think. And Larry never cooked again. So yeah, going back to Good Omens. Oh. Give me 1 second here, folks. I'm going to put you on mute for just a second. If I can. Actually, I love doing this live on TV, on the YouTube channel here. So, yeah, I am going to hit you on mute. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit you on mute. And I'm back. There we go. Much better. Sorry about that, folks. It needed to be done. Otherwise, it was just going to be very, very bad. I was having a few issues there. Just 1 episode of Titans is what Ed Brewer says. That's all you watched? I don't blame you. And yeah, you really don't. If you watch the 1 episode of Titans for Doom Patrol, that's pretty much the only one you need to watch from Titans. Everything else you can say, yeah. Was a silent fart. It's the end days. YouTube is muted. No, I had to mute you guys. Sorry there for a second. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Hopefully everything's good. Can you hear me in sign language? So, Les Miserables was a good adaptation, by the way. Okay, I'll take your word for it. Thank you, Viking bitch. I don't trust Mufino because he fucks with me. But yeah, sorry about that. My nose was just backing up there, and I don't know what was going on. Sorry about that. That's all part of being live, and it's not getting edited out. So later on, when you guys go back and watch this as a video, 10 years from now, it will still be there for me blowing my nose on the channel. I'll probably be long dead or have my brain preserved in a monkey's head or something like that. But yeah, it'll still be here. So speaking of other really good shit that's coming out, Duncan Jones just said that he's working on the script to 2000 AD's Rogue Trooper. For those of you across the pond, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Rogue Trooper. For those of you who don't know what Rogue Trooper is, during the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, 2000 AD that was putting out Judge Dredd, also put out a couple other comics as well, especially in Great Britain. And one of them was Rogue Trooper, who is a futuristic soldier. And it's some really good and violent stuff, much like Judge Dredd. And Duncan Jones, who is David Bowie's son, who also is a great director. If you haven't seen Moon, Moon is awesome. Excuse me. And was robbed of an Academy Award by Sony. That's all I can say. He's working on the script and also is going to direct it as well. Mork says, all I remember is a video game called Rogue Trooper. Well, go and take a look at 2000 AD. They have it up. Oh, yeah, I know. A lot of people liked Warcraft, Ricardo Aspie. Warcraft, see, that was a movie he should have waited on. He did that while his dad was died kind of thing. And I think it kind of affected the production value. It wasn't up to his normal snuff. That's all I can say. Yeah, he hasn't had a lot of luck with his movies lately, Stanley Tweedle. It's true. And I think if Sony hadn't fucked with him so much on Moon. So the whole story behind Moon, which stars Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell is pretty much the entire cast of Moon. Sony never submitted his movie for the Academy Award. They actually held it back, and the reason being is they never Duncan Jones owned it essentially. So all the proceeds that go to that movie now go straight to Duncan Jones. That's it. So if you haven't had a chance to buy it and you see it in the $5 bin or something like that, buy it because that movie goes to him. And yeah, Sony did not submit it for review to the Academy for the Oscar, which is really stupid. So it never got nominated. Sam Rockwell never got nominated for it either. And it's all Sony's fault. All because they didn't want the money going to Duncan Jones. It was kind of a really lame ass thing on their part. Now, if that had actually hit, you know, if it had become an Academy Award winner, which I think it would have, Sam Rockwell probably would have gotten his first reward or first award for that one. I think both, it would have taken both of their careers, both Sam Rockwell's and Duncan Jones, on a different trajectory and would be in a different place right now. And also Sony, I think, would have actually reaped some benefits from this as well. They wouldn't be in the shit show that they're in right now. Yeah, exactly, Kiddo Roan. Sony's actually changing things up a little bit. What did win that year? I don't remember, to tell you the truth, Ed Brewer. It just added to my Netflix queue is what Pen Farm Girl says. Yeah, Moon, if you haven't seen it, is a great movie. Awesome movie. And a sad movie, too. That's all I can say. And there's actually a little blurb that happens in... what was it? There was something on Netflix that Duncan Jones was involved in. One of the shows, I want to say it was Altered Carbon. It is Altered Carbon. Altered Carbon has something going on. Is it Altered Carbon? I believe so. On the TV, where you see a trial taking place, and it's actually it's the Moon trial. Yeah, it's actually related to that. So there you go. So there's a little bit of a tie-in. Kiddo Roan says there are rumors Disney wants to buy Sony Movies division, but no idea how accurate that is. No, there's no way that's true, Kiddo Roan. They've stretched themselves thin so far with the whole Fox thing. They've just gotten their merger approved. They are in the middle of restructuring everything. There is no way in hell they're going to be able to buy Sony Movies and put that together in the middle of all of this. Yeah, Fox was way too expensive. Comcast drove up the price for what Disney wanted on that. So yeah, Disney is very cash poor at the present. There's no way in hell they're buying Sony. And Sony wants too much too. I know Sony's trying to say, oh, we've got this great library and everything, and ain't gonna happen. Ricardo Aspie says, I wanted to see the War of the Orcs one. Yeah. And yeah, Stanley Tweedle, it would be very difficult with the regulators now to get everything. Well, if they're just buying the movie division, it shouldn't be that bad. But if they're trying to buy the studio and all that stuff, and also Sony right now with their new CEO or CFO, is it? I can't remember which one it is. They're talking about pushing pretty much everything over to the PlayStation right now, since they already have the PlayStation Network. They've had it in place since 2005. They're actually going to build that into a streaming service, which is like, duh, you already had that fucker in place since 2005 that rivals Netflix. All you need to do is activate it. Yeah. Kiddo Run says, yeah, they paid about $72 billion for Fox, and they won't make that back soon. Exactly. Especially since they're pouring money into the new Star Wars exhibit. They just raised prices at Disneyland as well because of that Star Wars exhibit there in Orlando, Florida. That opens up again this year as well. They're doing soft openings right now. So they're pouring money into that. Plus, they've got their D Plus service, Disney Plus, that they're working on. Yeah, they're not doing anything anytime soon. Brian Fisher says, all this talk about Warcraft, I'm going to have to go Warcraft movies and watch those all day. Yeah, Stanley Tweedler, market share. And the thing is, there's grumbling already that, what is it? Elizabeth Warren already said they're talking about breaking up Amazon, Google, and Apple. There you go. In the tech field. So if you think that's going to happen, if that's not going to happen to big studios like, Disney and, well, who else out there is as big as Disney right now? Yeah. Stormy Scott says lawsuit victory against Fox by Bones. Yeah, I saw that too. That is a big can of worms, and that's something that Disney has to deal with as well. Stanley Tweedle says, let's hope for them that episode 9 does not tank. You know what? If it tanks, that's actually good for them because they can use it as a write-off, to tell you the truth. They will make money on that. Wow. Hopefully I didn't catch something else, which I hope it hasn't happened. So on to some fun news. April 24th, Cobra Kai Season 2 returns to YouTube. Damn straight. Karate Kid in the now, 40 years later, is, yeah. If you haven't seen the trailer for it, go take a look at it. It's up on my Facebook page. It's also up on YouTube. And it's, my God. All I can say is Barney Stinson was right, man. Danny LaRusso is actually the bad guy in all of this. He really is. Sweep the leg, Johnny. Sweep the fucking leg. Yeah. So Johnny's still continuing with the bad times. And who's come back but his old sensei as well? We saw that at the very end of season 1. Spoilers! But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to that. Exactly. Legend. Wait for it. Dairy. How I Met Your Mother. But you're dead. No, he's not. He only faked his death. You know what? And I kind of thought the actor was dead myself. I thought Martin Kove was dead, and he keeps popping up again. I'm like, holy shit, he is still alive. Yeah. But I am definitely down for that one. I don't know how they're going to do it now. I don't know if YouTube has a streaming service or what they're doing, if they're just going to, how they're going to charge for it. It just seems kind of weird. See a movie, Fanobi. Slurming Scott says, we need ideas for new shows for Dennis to review since they are canceling some. Trust me, there's so much stuff coming out. I don't think you guys are going to have to really recommend stuff. There is a lot of stuff coming out. I mean, we have The Tick coming up in April. God, what else? There's a lot of stuff that's coming out. That's all I can say. I have it written down someplace. So, and yes, Happy. Thank you very much, Ricardo Aspie. Happy is coming up at the end of this month, the 27th. So season 2 of that is coming out. I'm going to be covering that. Yeah, and this week, God, we have the final episodes for Project Blue Book, the final episode for Deadly Class. They're not canceling the series. It's just the final episodes of the season. So, yeah, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, after this week, are going to have a little bit of a void for me until I was almost going to say fill those voids, but sure, what the hell, fill those voids. Find something to fill them. So, excuse me. Here's a weird one. So, Top Cow has a comic called Port of Earth, and it's being developed for TV by Amazon and Skybound. And you're going to say, well, what the fuck is Port of Earth? What is that, Dennis? Well, it's a comic book about it's written by Kaplan, excuse me, Zach Kaplan, excuse me, and Andrea Mutiti, who did Rebels and Batman Eternal. And it tells the story of an alien alliance called the Consortium that comes to Earth with a business proposition. They say, open Earth up as a spaceport for our customers. We'll give you advanced technology and upgrades in exchange. Then what happens is rogue aliens break the port restrictions and start causing shit in different cities. So this means that they have to set up a Earth security agent team. Yes, that bring them back to the port of Earth. And the Consortium represents like thousands of alien planets. And they have political issues, exploitation, occupation, espionage, duplicity, technology and leverage, all that kind of stuff happening within this series. It sounds fairly interesting to me. I mean, it sounds kind of sci-fi Game of Thrones-ish in a way, with Men in Black mixed in, and I don't know. There's a couple different things that are thrown in there, and so I'm interested in seeing what that's going to be about. See you, Brian Fisher. Sounds a bit like Defiance, a little bit, maybe parts of it. Kato Rowan says, let's hope they don't make it too complicated, which is my biggest gripe with Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones isn't complicated. It's just what got me about Game of Thrones is you keep talking about the damn war happening and you never show it for the first 6 seasons. You show a little bit of it near the end of the 6th season, but as far as I was concerned, that was too little, too late. And I still love. I keep referencing the SNL Saturday Night Live that they did with Andy Samberg, where when Game of Thrones first came out, and they said they took Game of Thrones and what they did was they brought in a 13-year-old boy as a consultant, and whenever it got too boring, they would throw boobs in, and they used him to find out when it got too boring to throw boobs in the place. And it was just Andy Samberg going, boobies, more boobies. Yeah. And that's pretty much how I thought Game of Thrones was. It was, yeah, I know it was the budget, Ed Brewer, but still at the same time, if you're going to talk about the damn war, show the damn war. There are ways of doing it on a budget. That's all I can say. You must have been disappointed with Spartacus, is what Andrej Merrick says. I was not disappointed with Spartacus. Spartacus actually had a good story to it. And there was a lot of nudity in it as well. And there were equal opportunity nudity. Not that I was looking for that, myself. But yes, there was a lot of titillation, as Stanley Dweedle says in that. Spartacus was a good story, though. And Andy, who was the very first Spartacus there, was a nice guy. I actually was in the panel that he was at when he announced that his cancer was in remission for the first time before it restarted again. And he was just very humble that he had gotten the part and that everyone had accepted him in there. And he was just a really nice guy. And cancer just sucks. That's all I can say. Yeah, Black Sails is what Andrej Merrick said. You know what? I watched the first couple episodes of Black Sails, and I'm like, yeah, it's just Spartacus set in a different time with a lot of boobs. Yeah, Stormy Scott. Exactly. Fuck cancer. Exactly. So, what else do we have going on here? Excuse me. Before I do that again, one more time, I'm going to put you on mute. You're not going to hear anything, but I will be a little more clearer, let's just say. All right. So give me one. And I'm back. And a little bit more there. There we go. You can count pirate TV shows on one hook. I see what you did there, Andrej Marek. Very funny. Yes. Yeah, there's a reason why there aren't a lot of pirate TV shows out there. They just don't do all that well. Yeah, Black Sail is the prequel to Treasure Island. And I don't know, it just didn't do anything for me. It didn't. You're talking like 3 times faster too. Is that what you're saying? Is my sound all fucked up now? Should I talk real slow in order to get it back into frame? Yeah, pirate TV shows are expensive. Yeah, I know, Edward. I'm just fucking with you guys. I know the boats that they were using, the ships that they were using were very expensive. So that was what a lot of the budget went into. So what else we got here? I love this one. So Schwarzenegger says he still wants to make King Conan. However, the Howard estate, the person who's running the Howard estate, the Robert E. Howard estate, doesn't want to do one. He wants to do a TV series. He's adamant about making a TV series for Conan. And I'm like, dude, yeah, if you actually did the King Conan series with Arnold Schwarzenegger, because Arnold Schwarzenegger wants to do a 70-year-old Conan who's pissed off at being king. He wants to get out there again and goes out for one last adventure. And, you know, it's a no-brainer right there. I don't know why this guy who's running the Howard estate doesn't want to do that. Because, excuse me, then you make your money, your seed money, to do a TV show, a TV series on Conan, if you want to do it that way. And then you can bring it out to Netflix or Amazon or something like that and sell it. Yeah, Ed Brewer, Marvel's been doing the comics for forever, since the 70s. I don't know if you ever saw the big oversized, I used to buy the big oversized Conan comics back in the 70s with John Buscema's artwork. That was awesome. That was some good stuff. Those were the days, man, when they made comics. Back in the old days. They all think they'll rake it in like Game of Thrones. You know, Game of Thrones, again, like I said, I go back to it. It was marketing more than anything else. Because if you go back and try and, it's kind of boring. That's all I'm going to say. It really kind of is. There's a reason why it's ending, as you know, next season. Well, also because the books aren't going any further. So, no Basil Pordoris, no Conan for me, is what Andrej Marek says. Yeah, he was a great conductor, if you will, music composer. But yeah, and people overused the opera portion of that. I can't remember what song that comes from. That is always associated with Conan now. And as someone once said, you have a movie where the first 20 minutes, there's only like 3 lines of dialogue in the first 20 minutes of that movie. And it's still so compelling to watch it. And again, it's John Millis who directed this. He was the teacher of Spielberg and Lucas. And he always told them, show, don't tell. I would always say, if you are ever going to take a film class, or you are going to teach a film class, you use that first 20 minutes of Conan at some point in your teaching and say, this is how you do movies. This is a good movie. This is a perfect example of show, don't tell. You don't need to do exposition for fucking everything. Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says, when you are wrong, you're wrong, Dennis. No shame in it. Yeah, you like Game of Thrones, that's fine, man. Like I said, it's something I just can't get into all that well. It's going to be interesting to see how I do the episode reviews with that, because you're going to tell when I get really, really bored of the show, because the episode review might be 5 minutes long. And this shit happened. They were done. This shit was supposed to happen. We never saw it. They just talked about it off screen. There we go. Stanley Tweedle says, maybe the STD people should take a course in this. Yeah. Kato Roan says, show don't tell. Is this something the man who killed Hitler and then Bigfoot did very well? It used visual cues to show the audience in which time frame events happen. For instance, Kato, is that out now? Is that on Netflix? I didn't see that come out. Maybe I haven't turned on Netflix in a while, so maybe that's something I need to do next. Because yes, I really wanted to see the man who killed Hitler and then Bigfoot. Because man, yeah, it just looked interesting, and also the title just is intriguing as well. By Crom. Exactly. I heard about that. Exactly, Ed Brewer. Sorry, it's a voice kind of day, too. I don't know what's going on. Matt Smith says he has not been cast in episode 9 as far as he knows. So a couple of weeks ago, there was a rumor that Matt Smith had been cast as the Emperor in episode 9. Star Wars episode 9. And he's actually filming right now. Morbius is what he's filming. So he was taking a little break from filming Morbius. And I guess back in August is when this rumor came out. And he says, as far as I can tell, I'm definitely not in it, is what he said in an interview to the Los Angeles Times. But they said he also was refusing to disclose his role in Morbius. He did reveal that his former Doctor Who co-star Karen Gillan, who is Nebula, of course, convinced him to take the part in the Sony film. So he was actually refusing that he had been that he was going to be in Morbius, but now he is in Morbius. So who knows for sure if he really is in episode 9. Yes, all kinds of confusing. He may or may not be. Oh, man. So Stanley Tweedle says, yes, next Friday, the Love, Death, and Robots is going to be on Netflix. That's right. Oh, Kato, you saw it through alternative means. I see. That's how you saw it. Kato Roan, Criminal Mastermind. So that's all I got to talk about, quite honestly. So Captain Marvel, bad. Okay. Save your money. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse comes out on DVD at the end of this month, I believe is what it is. I actually pre-ordered mine already. It's just going to come to the mail for me. I'm actually just going to rewatch it again to get that Marvel taste back in my mouth. A really good Marvel taste instead of the bad one. Kato Roan, Alita Battle Angel. How can I say this in a nice way? It was a half-baked movie. It seemed like it wasn't finished, and they really didn't use actors. They had some really good actors in it that they didn't use all that well. So, especially Ed Norton. Ed Norton's the bad guy in all of this, and I think he has 2 speaking lines that you don't see him say on screen. It's like voiceover. And I didn't realize it was Ed Norton until almost the end. And I was like, holy shit, is that Ed Norton? It is Ed Norton. So is Captain Marvel prequel to Alien? No, it's not. Ed Brewer, there were 7 different writers for Captain Marvel. That's all I can say right there. And that should tell you enough. And they all have 7 different voices that are trying to vie for attention in the script. Pen Farm Girl says The Man Who Killed Hitler and then Bigfoot is $6.99 on Amazon or YouTube streaming. Huh. Interesting. I'll wait till it comes out on Netflix and then watch it then. I can agree with that. I took it as a setup for a new movie universe. Yeah, I again, Kato, I wish they had fleshed it out a little bit more and made it its own movie. I understand what
Robert Rodriguez is doing. He does all these movies and edits them in his studio out in Austin, which is great. He's made his own studio, what have you, out there, and he lives in his own little bubble. But he makes movies that really don't have a beginning or end to them. And I know he's trying to create a world, but then he doesn't follow up on them because he goes off and does something else. And you need to actually root this in something so that you can get a following to create the world to add on to it. So, yeah. Oh, the Spider-Verse movie is what you mean, Ed Brewer. Got it. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I saw that in the theater, and even with the people that I had to move seats twice. 3 times. I take that back. I moved 3 times in the theater because of asshats in the theater. And I still thought it was a good movie. Stanley Trail says, maybe after Endgame, it's time to let the past die. Kill it if you have to. Isn't that what they said in episode 8? It's time to let the past die. Yeah, actually, I just saw something recently from Mark Hamill that I guess he ignited some more controversy about the whole thing about Rian Johnson talking about letting the past die. And he says, yeah, they're really trying to kill the original trilogy in episode 8. And he says maybe even episode 9. And he's not okay with that. He says, then what's the point of me having done these movies if you're just going to kill them off and forget about them? And he says, even though they ignited, yeah, it was kind of a big deal. And then it got buried. It got buried very quickly by Disney. Disney's been doing a lot of burying of stuff lately. It's like a cat in a sandbox, man. They've just been kicking shit up and covering it over. Yeah. Kato Roan says maybe they shouldn't have teased the big bad. That way Alita would have been less open-ended. Well, the whole thing is, and I've said this before, your movie's only as good as your villain. And if your villain never shows up and you never have a confrontation and all you're doing is setting up the world, don't do it in a movie. Do it in a YouTube series or something like that, or a Netflix series or something like that, and then go build it into a movie from there. Because right now all you did was you just set up a world and then you kind of dropped it. And for me, that wasn't worth $18 for a movie. Yeah, you know what, Stanley Tweedle, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney's driving around. I don't think it's a white windowless van. It's one of those black vans, the ones that you see that are usually going to be abducting people. Yeah, exactly, Andrej Marek, like the Animatrix. The Blade Runner shorts were pretty shitty, but the Animatrix was good. And just do it that way, set up your series of stories, build your world that way, and then go into the movie. And actually have a movie with a beginning, middle, and an end. And yes, you can have something that leads into a sequel. That's fine. But to have a movie that really has no beginning or end, it's just the middle portion of the movie and it's just out there. That's kind of what pissed me off too when I left. I was like, so that's it. You kind of ended the movie at really what's the midway point of the movie. And I was like, so, call me when you decide you want to finish it. Scope Leather Up by Viking, which is interesting. So Rian is getting blamed for killing a franchise he was speaking out against killing. That got twisted. Yeah. Rian backpedaled quite a bit, Viking Bitch, on his original statements. He's now supposedly focused on his new Star Wars trilogy because he wanted to start a new world, if you will. And he's backpedaling hard. He got a lot of flack over episode 8 and still is getting a lot of flack from episode 8. So, all right. See you, Viking Bitch. Have a good afternoon. I'm going to be wrapping up here too myself. So, yeah, Yeah, I blame Kathleen Kennedy, quite honestly. She was the one that saw this coming. I blame her and that hack Kasdan, Lawrence Kasdan. Those are the two that should have never been allowed near Disney at all, or near Star Wars, I should say. And they should have brought in. They're bringing in Favreau to do the Mandalorian. They probably should have just brought Favreau in to do these. They should have not brought in J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams has the fucking attention span of a gnat. But yeah. I don't blame Rian Johnson for messing up Star Wars, but Disney, they should have never started the new trilogy without 3 movies written out. Exactly. They should have actually planned stuff out. And again, The Mandalorian is live action, Andrej Merrick. Yes, it's live action. And they're going to do something interesting. Nick Nolte is voicing and doing the facial acting for an Ugnaught, and it's a main character. And the actress who is wearing the Ugnaught costume is going to have a prosthetic on that when Nick Nolte does his facial expressions, they're actually going to have a helmet on him. And when he does the voice, she's going to lip sync to what he's saying. It sounds really weird. And Nolte's facial expressions are going to come out animatronically on her prosthetic that she's doing. How? I have no idea. I'm interested to see how this is going to work. But yeah, I am interested in The Mandalorian, mainly because Favreau is doing this, and then also the cast. The cast is just amazing. So yeah, there we go. Stanley Tweedle says like George Lucas did. Yeah, George Lucas really didn't have everything thought out either, but he knew kind of what he wanted to do already. He didn't have actual scripts planned out, but he knew what the storyline was going to be. And he changed them here and there as he went along. But man, yeah. Yeah, I saw that Stormy Scott about Roy Disney's granddaughter publicly calling out for when they said that, yeah, the Disney CEO makes 500 times the average employee, and then it's wrong, that maybe they should start paying them less. They're Disney CEOs. Yep. Yeah, Kid O'Ron, that's right. Lucas was in charge of all 3 movies, and he can continue his vision. And yes, if you look at Empire he didn't like, but at the same time, he allowed it to happen because he saw that it was a good natural progression. And it is the best out of the trilogy, out of the original trilogy. I fucking hope we don't get another Death Star in episode 9, to tell you the truth. Oh, we really don't need that again. They need to do something else. Although I think Luke is coming back. That's all I can say. And on that note, since a little dog decides that, it's time to go, that's what she's saying. I want to take care of a little business here first. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button too if you like what you see. And if you don't like what you see, hit the dislike button. I know I talked for a little while here. Also, if you want to know when I'll be on next and you want to hear me blow my nose on, camera here, hit the little bell down below there. You got a 50-50 chance of YouTube notifying you when I'm going to be on next. If you're still on the fence about joining up, take a look at the videos up here. The videos are going to be culled from my video library to your best taste from what you've been watching. YouTube has an algorithm that they are using to find out what you like, and they will pick from my videos and show you some videos there. So if you like what you see there, then you can hit the subscribe button over this side. All I can say is thank you to everyone who stuck with me here in the chat. Kato Roan, Stanley Tweedle, Slurming Scott, Viking Bitch, Movie Fanobi, Penn Farm Girl. Who else was in here? Ed Brewer, Andrej Merrick. I know Little Crispy Tenders was in here earlier as well. And I saw Ricardo Aspies in here. And who else? I know there was a few other people as we were going through here. So thank you all for joining me. And if you want to see when I'm going to be on next, I'm actually going to be on tomorrow, Sunday, for the Gotham review. So Gotham got a little delayed because of Captain Marvel and also some technical difficulties as well. So that is going to be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pen Farm Girl. Yes, I changed the schedule. That's right. The schedule is the most accurate thing I have. My schedule is up on suspendedfanimation.com. It is also up on Facebook as well. So if I am going to be late, I usually go in and change out that schedule and let you know on the schedule itself. So there we go. So with that said, I'm going to let you go. Take a look at the videos. Hit the subscribe button over here. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, who knows? You may have another Death Star lurking around and not know about it. See ya. Have a good afternoon, everybody.